when because you obviously guide people through this thinking process as a mortgage broker, how do you sort of tackle those conversations or those discussions and help people sort of uncover what those the compromises are that they are and aren't prepared to do, and how they might be able to get there?
So I mean, in that scenario you're talking about there, like ultimately I want a $3 million house, let's say. What's really holding you back from getting there? Is it literally you're on a very strong trajectory of income, and what you're earning today is going to be dramatically more in 3 or 4 years' time? And then you might be saying, well, I mean, do we even buy that now? Do we buy a $1 million place, or should we just save really hard for 2 or 3 years and, buy that place? I think ultimately, when we're helping people sort of think through what to do, it's sort of having those frank conversations. Everyone's sort of different in terms of where they're at. I mean, we also ask a lot of questions around, is it actually going to work, their strategy? If buying this, how are you actually going to, what's the next move after that? What's the next move after that? So, I mean, that's fundamentally, most brokers come at the other way, right? Like, this is how much you can borrow and, this is the best rate. We sort of help think through, okay, well, where are you actually trying to get to? What's the moves you can make to potentially get there?
Yeah, I think that thinking 2 steps ahead is really key, whether it's financial planning, mortgage broking, your property decisions, any money moves. And I think you need to, if you don't have the knowledge to be able to think those 2 steps ahead, then you need to talk to someone that does, because it's not just the next step. You've got to be thinking beyond that, because otherwise you can be sometimes, especially with property, because it's a big, we're talking about big decisions that have an impact for a number of years, that sometimes taking one path will mean that you're closing off another path. And not to say that you wouldn't close that path off, sometimes that's totally fine, but doing it when you're not aware of it is something that can be really frustrating down the path if you realize it at a later stage, especially if it's something that you particularly want.